Okay, I went to storage, pulled things, not a lot of things. We don't have anything, especially nothing that's modern.
No.
At all. So I got maybe like 20% of what I need. But then I've been in contact with all the actors. They will each be providing, at least most of them are providing at least something.
Like a space costume.
Yeah. Oh, I also will be getting in touch with all the actors this weekend, telling them what they need to bring into rehearsals starting as soon as next week to practice those costume changes. Just things like, just put on a jacket for this character, whatever.
Love it.
So they'll have that and be ready to practice. So I thought I would walk you through some of my costume choices, explain the choices I made for each character and why I made them. And then I'll also show a little picture here of what it actually looked like in the finished production. So going into this, I read the script a bunch. I tried to figure out, okay, these actors who are going to be playing multiple characters, what characters are they playing? In what order do they change into these characters, and how fast are these changes? These were kind of the big 3 topics that I needed to tackle right away. So immediately in my script, I went through, I marked every change, I wrote down on sticky notes the order that these changes happened in, and I took notes about each character and what their specific character needed. What was either said in the script that they needed or kind of what's implied. So this is what I had here. So I had first a list of the changes, the list of changes into what characters do they switch into when. And then I went through, I marked down each character and wrote down the characteristics of things that they need for costumes for that character. And then this just lists like the general character, like women 1 or 2, and then all the characters they play aside from that. So immediately it was a lot of organization, grouping, trying to figure out how to make this all work. So I'll go now more into detail about what I chose for specific characters. So for Aaron, in the script, it pretty much spells out A to Z what Aaron wears. It describes that he wears a suit, a tie, glasses, and black loafers. That's literally in the description. So I was like, okay, cool. It's decided for me. And so then I decided, because our actor is very tall, very skinny, I would do a slim-fitting gray suit. I wanted something that's very professional. He's coming just from work, so he definitely is a little more professional, but I wanted something that's still going to be flattering. I didn't want a boxy suit. That's why we did a slim fit. And then black loafers, I did a pattern dress shirt because they are sitting closer to an audience, so they would be able to pick up on the pattern. And I think it makes it a little more fun. I think a plain colored shirt is just boring. And then glasses, as it says he needs. So then for Casey, the lead girl. In the script, and in the songs too, it describes her as kind of indie, kind of artsy, a little funky, and usually you see Casey dressed in just a tight dress. And to me, that makes 0 sense. How are they getting this idea that she's indie and funky and artsy just from her wearing a tight dress? That makes no sense to me. That doesn't show her personality. So I wanted something that is modern fashion, yet still very clearly reads to her personality. So this was kind of my idea board for her. So I wanted to kind of play with the modern look of the smaller skirt with the tights and black booties with a leather jacket, and do something that was still modern and sexy, because that is very Casey. She'd want to look good, but she also wants to look comfortable, yet also fashionable. So I did it all. She also has a tattoo. So this was the tattoo that I chose. She has a song called Safer, and it's about, she has all these walls up and she's saying, I could let this person in. I kind of want to, but it's still safer to have these walls up. I'm still protecting myself. So I tried to think of a tattoo that would resemble her. What would make sense that she would want on her forever? And so I chose the Chinese symbol of safe. I think when she got this tattoo, she wanted something to remind her of who she is and to keep her grounded. And I think for her, that word is safe. It's just like the song says. She's like, I could branch out, I could do these things, but ultimately, I need to protect myself. I need to stay safe, because her entire past, she hasn't felt that way. And so I thought it would be very symbolic for her to have the word safe tattooed. And then I think the fun thing is by the end of the musical, when she breaks down those walls and she's very open with Aaron, I think the tattoo brings on a new meaning. It's a reminder that safe doesn't just come from you. Like, you can find safety within other people. You can break down those walls and feel comfortable with others. So that's kind of why I chose that tattoo. And it wasn't just because of the song Safer. I thought about it, and that I thought was the best idea. So now we move into ensemble characters. So I say ensemble, but ultimately, like, everybody in this show is a lead. They all have solo numbers. They all have a lot of dialogue. It's just that the ensemble characters play multiple roles. So the first one we'll discuss is man number one. So man number one, he plays, first off, just man number one, a basic man out on a date. Then he also plays Gabe, the best friend, who's also described as kind of cocky, a little rude, a little inappropriate, immature. That's kind of the best friend vibe we're getting from him. And then he also plays a druggie, one of Casey's past boyfriends. And he also plays YouTube. So I'll get into World Wide Web stuff later. That's a song that they are all social medias. So I'll get into that later. But for man number one, I was thinking, what is kind of a modern style right now that has layers for men that can be quickly taken on and off, that can translate into other characters? So what I decided to do was Gabe. He would wear a sweatshirt and a backwards baseball cap, because that's very, to me, kind of the stereotypical best friend, immature guy. At least that's what I see a lot on Iowa State's campus. But then I thought for man number one, he layers it with a leather jacket. Something that still, it's very casual, it's very comfortable, but he's on a date. He wants something that still looks a little, not necessarily nicer, but something that shows a little more personality and isn't so comfortable looking. You know, he's on a date. He's not just wearing a sweatshirt and sweatpants. So I decided on that, and also black jeans, because that's going to translate very easily for the rest of the characters. And then white Converse. So man number two plays, he plays the gay best friend Reggie, who in the script it says he wears a scarf. And then the edgy British guy. And then he also plays Aaron and Casey's future son, as well as Instagram later on. So at first I tried to think, okay, he has to play a normal guy. Then he also has to play a gay best friend. And he can only do that throwing on a scarf. That was the cue written in the script. So I wanted to do it. I wanted to say, okay, how can I change an entire look just by adding a scarf? So what we ended up doing was he wears a striped sweater, or a patterned sweater, I guess, and with black jeans, or dark wash jeans, and black Converse. And then when he turns into Reggie, he takes off a pair of glasses, throws on a scarf, and he becomes Reggie. And it actually translated pretty well. And we decided to do a paisley scarf, something a little more feminine, just because Reggie is very, not necessarily feminine, just very extra. So I thought that would fit well for him. And then for the edgy British guy, what we did was he then took off the sweater, and he had this kind of graphic tee under it. And then he threw on the leather jacket that was previously worn by man number one. So when he exited the stage, he just gave his jacket then to the edgy British guy. So it kind of worked out. I got to use one piece for two characters, which I wasn't anticipating on doing, but they both fit the jacket, and the timing of the change just worked out perfectly that way. And then for Aaron's and Casey's future son, I decided to give him kind of this graphic long sleeve, something that could cover his sweater that he could just throw over the top, and have a metal chain and a flat bill cap, because I wanted him to kind of look like the stereotypical kid who wants to be a rapper, because he raps during that song. So I kind of went with more of a stereotype. And that change was one of the fastest that we did. So I needed it to just be something he could throw on top, and it worked out great. And then our last man is man number 3. So man number 3, he actually never played just regular man number 3, which is in the script, but due to the way that we just blocked it, he just came out right as the waiter. So that was completely fine on my part. So we have the waiter, we have Casey's friendly therapist, and we have Casey's very Christian father. And he also played Twitter. So I started with a black dress shirt and black dress pants and black dress shoes, obviously. And as the waiter, he wore a black tie and a black apron. And so the tie was also a clip-on, so that it was easy to get on and off during those fast changes. When he became the friendly therapist, he puts on a cardigan and glasses. The last part for him was becoming Casey's very Christian father. So for that, I decided to make him look like a priest. That's what's written in the script. So he took off his tie, then he put on a rectangle of white paper, and it gave the appearance of the priest collar. So then we'll move into the women. So there's 2 women in our ensemble. And so woman number 1, she had some of the most complicated changes. So this was my original idea for her. So she plays woman number 1, just a woman on a date, kind of dressed up, kind of cute. And then she also plays Lauren, who is Casey's older sister. Is kind of described as an A-type kind gal. And then she plays Grandma Ida, who is Aaron's grandma, Jewish grandma. And then we have Aaron's mom. So immediately the one I wanted to figure out was, what can I do as kind of her base outfit that can also translate into a businesswoman outfit? Because I think that one was going to be the hardest to navigate. So immediately I thought of, okay, if I do a bodycon dress that has a more modest neckline, then I can just throw a blazer over it and it will look professional. It'll look okay. And it actually looked great. And then for Lauren, I thought she's an A-type gal. She is Casey's older sister. She's very protective, kind of has that like, just a very strong older sister vibe. So I found this button-up skirt at Goodwill. And the way that we actually did that change was the top 3 buttons are magnets. So she can just pull it up and go like that, and it just closes itself. She doesn't have to zip it or button it between changes. That was the easiest way to do that. And then she also threw in a headband. And then for Grandma Ida, I got a grandma-looking nightgown and then threw a cardigan over it, something crocheted, because I definitely wanted something that was heavier and looked handmade, like Grandma Ida made it for herself. And then we got these like 50s styled glasses. And then she had a grandma wig as well, which was super fun. And she ended up ditching her heels that she was wearing and put on slippers. And then for the last woman, so she played woman number 2. And she also played Allison, as well as, she played Google. So when I was thinking of her outfit, Allison has a part later in the show when she does need to transform into a bride, because she is looking the way Aaron last saw her. So I knew I needed her in a white dress so that she could put a white skirt over it to give the appearance of a wedding dress. So I thought, okay, a white dress, easy enough. And then I thought, okay, quick changes between her and Allison, how can we do that? So I thought something modern. And right now, the big thing is jean jackets. So she wore a jean jacket when she was a regular woman. So, with World Wide Web is forever. Obviously, they're all playing different social media sites. And when I initially thought of how to costume them, I knew, okay, I want the logos on something. And at first we kind of played around with, should the logos be on shirts, or maybe they're holding the actual, like a cutout of their social media icon. Maybe it's something more physical, like a prop. And then kind of through production meetings, we talked about it and we figured out, okay, we want the logos very clearly visible. And then Andrew, our stage manager, had the idea of what if we incorporate tulle or something else into the costumes as well. Like everyone has something different, but it's still the same thing that ties them together. And I thought, that is brilliant. We'll do it. And then I also thought that something that was really fun is headbands. And so we made the headbands, and they each had different icons from the social media site. I thought if we did the headbands, we incorporated the tulle, all of that, it's gonna give this overall appeal that this is something just over the top. And so that's kind of what I wanted to achieve with that. And I think we did a pretty effective job. That was kind of my thinking process for all the characters. And I hope that all made sense and you're not too bored watching this. This is a very long video and I see that now. But that's kind of the choices I made and why I made them.
I know that I have issues, I face them, I swear. Think I'll overcome them, turn they're still there. Wish that I was different, I'd like to let.
Last night, I went to their first full run-through, which was really, really exciting. They did a great job, they're in a great place. I'm excited to see where it goes. I went to that mostly to see if there are any movement issues where I'd have to, you know, create something differently based on how they move, how they dance, whatnot. And there wasn't too much based on that I'm gonna have to change. But the big thing was the timing of the changes. These changes happen very quickly and there's a lot of them. So my goal was, in watching that, I figured out, okay, this person has a really small time to change. How can I make this as simple as possible? All right, so this weekend, Lincoln and I went to Des Moines to go and thrift as much as we could for the show. And behind me is everything that we have so far from storage and from thrifting. I have a good, like, 60% of what I need. So, but thankfully, I still have a good amount of budget left, more than I anticipated, actually. So that way I can actually go and buy things now, things that aren't from Goodwill. I think what I've found most challenging in trying to thrift all of these clothes is the fact that none of the clothes in thrift stores tend to be modern. So that first off is a challenge, just finding anything modern, but I kind of like the challenge. I think it's fun, and it is fun to kind of go through, and then when you find something, it is like, yes, finally. I mean, I'm in a good place. I still have another month to get everything perfect, so I'm happy with it. So tonight is fittings, and I've already done most of them, and then I forgot that I was gonna vlog it, and I didn't. But so far so good, actually. Everything's been fitting except for one girl's skirt, which is the one I kept the receipt for because I thought it might not. So that's fine. I can go exchange it and get a different size. So in between fittings, I've been painting everyone's World Wide Web is Forever t-shirts. I've got 4 of them done now. This is the last one. I'm so close, and then I get to do all the tool stuff for all of them. So that'll be a little bit of work, but I mean, I'm here for a while because I still have another fitting tonight. I have another one tomorrow, so I'll be here again. And I'm hoping I can get this all done before we head off for spring break, because then I can't work on any of it. So now comes the more tedious process where I am making these kind of springy headbands for each of the characters during World Wide Web is Forever. And all of them are going to have various logos on them of basically like the different icons you'd find on their social media platforms. So I have to cut each of these out, back them with cardboard, paint the cardboard, and attach them to these headbands and hope that this wire is strong enough to hold them. Okay, so while working on this, I'm kind of realizing, like I cut this out, cut the matching cardboard, and I'm like, these are really big, because I have to fit 2 of them on this, and it's like, it's kind of big. And I kind of like if I just had the shapes cut out instead, but cardboard, first off, is really annoying and tough to cut. It hurts. So I think I'm gonna wait on this until I have cardstock, and I'm gonna use that instead, because it's gonna be a little easier, plus I don't have to paint it white. So in Fisher today, I'm working on Allison's wedding dress. And what I have is this beautiful baby. What I'm doing is I'm basically removing this entire bodice and only keeping the skirt, because Allison is already wearing this, the character Allison is already wearing a high neck white dress. So what I'm doing is just adding a full length skirt for the part when she is supposed to be dressed as a bride. So kind of show what I'm doing right now. I've opened up the back of her and I've seam ripped the lining to separate it from the bodice. So next I'll be separating the actual skirt itself from the bodice so that I can keep the lining and the skirt in one piece. And what I've kind of noticed is I was originally planning on doing Velcro on the back or some magnets or something so that this change, because it is rather fast, is just as easy as possible. But in looking at it, this dress actually fits this form really well. And the zipper, I think what I can do is I will stop the zipper at the waistline. I'll sew over it so that it creates its own zipper stop. And then that way I can just leave the zipper, hopefully. So this is actually seam ripping super nicely. The bodice is separating from this perfectly. I guess the biggest challenge is all of this. Yeah, this is the hardest part right here, is trying to find all the stitches when the fabric is fraying as much as it is. But I'll just keep going. So far, so good. Hopefully this ends up okay. So here is the finished skirt. And this dress form is actually smaller than the actress. The waist is a little small, so this does sit lower on the form's hips, but it should fit the actress okay. And it also, the adjustable part to make it taller is broken, so it's not the right height either, but it should work okay. And I was able to keep the zipper in the back. So what I did was I just top stitched the whole thing. And hopefully, I mean, that kind of gives it a look where I think once you put the dress under it, it's going to look pretty good. But that's the finished deal. Okay, so there's a issue with these. These are a little more boingy than I want them to be. Or some of them are. Like this one's pretty good. This one isn't. And this is with all the headbands. They kind of each have at least one, if not both, that are floppy and not boingy. So what I'm doing now is adding pipe cleaner in between the springs. So this one used to be the really, really boingy one. And now they're good. It's kind of cute too. So now I'm going through and adding pipe cleaner into all of these. And that is your little hack of the day. How to fix floppy headbands. We're here at Story Theater Company, and tonight is our first dress rehearsal in the space with the set with the costumes. So I'll give you a look around.
Exactly. And I feel clean.
And look, it's our Aaron and Casey.
My hair looks so rough right now. Can you do a different one?
Here's our costume setup. There's props. Bye, guys.
Let's do it again. My hair's so rough.
All right, through here we enter to the stage.
Get that one? Yeah.
So let's show a whole view.
What if you do, then you'll never ever find the one. Go on, are you ever gonna find the one? I will but there's so many ways to live. One of the unknowns you getting there, the fairy tale, where the house of fairy tale. But you can't erase it, you can't suppress all the information that our servers possess. No hidden backstage, no second shift. The World Wide Web is forever. Very shocked at romance. It's your bestie calling, it's Reggie to the rescue here to save you from another catastrophic blind date.
So here I have my first dress notes. And so up top I have my to-do list of things that I still need to do before opening. And then things that I need to get. So these are either things that I don't have yet or things that I didn't like and I want to get new ones. And then I have specific notes for the actors where maybe they messed up a change and they put something on wrong, or maybe they're pairing the wrong things together. So I made note of it so that I can tell them tomorrow. And then I've also listed supplies that I need to bring to the theater. Just things that I had forgotten. How did I forget a sewing kit? I don't know, but I did. Just things that the actors will need. I've also gone through and made a broken items and repair request sheet. So if anything happens to an item during a show, the actors can fill this out as to what needs fixed and who it belongs to. So then I have a written document of it happening, whereas if they tell me, I could easily forget. So I want to make sure that I get things fixed in case something happens. And then I also have a list of changes. So these are the changes that happen in which the actors do need additional help because they are rather quick. So I wrote down like who the actor is and then who is going to assist them. Tomorrow is opening night. It's so crazy to think that we're this close because, I mean, this whole process has just flown by. Like, I know it's been a few months, but, like, it just feels like I got the script yesterday. Like, oh, it's crazy. But right now, what I'm doing is the very last thing I have left. I have one thing left. One thing. And it's to sew pockets for magnets like this to then put on the choir robes. And I need 12 of them, which is fine. I don't have 12 magnets with me though, so I kind of have to guess and hope that I make them the right size. But yeah, I just make a little square, put the magnet in, and then sew over it. And then I'll attach them to the front of the choir robe so that when they put them on, they just hook it and then it goes boom, and it closes itself. And that way too, like, they can pull it off really quickly. They can put it on really quickly. They don't have to worry about any of that. So, yeah. And so far, the rehearsals have been going great. I mean, the changes have been really quick. We've had a few that have gone not so well. but we've worked on them and we've practiced them, and I just keep explaining to the actors, like, the key to a quick change is you have to stay calm. It's actually kind of reverse. Like, going slow is gonna make it go faster. Like, because the minute that they get frantic, they start grabbing at things, they try to make things go quicker, is when it actually takes longer, and then they miss their cue. So tonight was our last dress rehearsal before opening. The big thing that came out of tonight was learning that the magnets will not work for the robes. They work, but with how much movement and dancing they do, they keep popping open. They close back, but they open and close throughout the whole song. So to a certain point, it just gets more distracting than anything. So I decided, okay, at this point in the show, people have seen some of the changes. They understand that these characters are playing multiple characters within the show. So I decided to remove the magnets and just leave the robes open. So they just clasp it at the top and then just leave it open, because people will get the main idea. It's such a crazy song that I think we can get away with it. And I talked with some people who were watching in the audience today, and they agreed that leaving them open is going to be the better option. So that's what I'm going to go with. It's opening night. I can't believe we're here. I'm so excited. The actors are warming up right now, and everything is set and ready. How excited are you?
On a scale of 1 to 10, alpaca.
And go.
Oy vey!
Yes! It's time! Are you excited?
Yes!
Yay! Break a leg! I love you all. You'll do great. Oh my gosh. Opening went better than I ever hoped it would. It was amazing. The actors did great. Our quick changes were happening with time to spare, and everything was just going perfectly. I am beyond happy. The responses that we have gotten from people just with tonight's show was so positive. I think everyone really enjoyed it. Wow, I can't wait for tomorrow. Tomorrow we get a respondent from KCACTF. So that's the Kennedy Center American College Theater Festival. A mouthful. But it's basically a college theater festival that a lot of Iowa State students go to every year. I went to it this year. But we'll have a respondent come who's going to give us feedback about the show, both to the actors and what they're doing, and also to all of the designers and technical directors and everything. So I'm really looking forward to that. I want to get some more feedback on it, see what I could do better, you know, in the future. But I'm really, really happy, and I can't wait for the rest of the shows and to be able to share it with more people. It was such an amazing experience. Alright, so it's the second night of shows tonight, and this is my friend Abby, who is the assistant stage manager. What did you think about last night's show?
I think it went really well. I couldn't chop up a piece of the, we have dry ice, so sadly that did not happen because my hand is very small and not strong. But I think that costume-wise, it was excellent.
It went awesome.
Yes.
How excited are you for tonight?
So excited.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I don't know how excited the actors are.
We're really excited. We're excited for them.
We also get the respondent tonight, so I'm excited to hear their feedback.
Yeah.
So tonight's show definitely had some ups and downs, but overall they did amazing. It was an amazing show. We only had some minor problems with the costumes, nothing too drastic, and we also had our respondent come, and he had some good feedback. The one thing that he pointed out was one of the costume choices made. He didn't quite understand it. He didn't think it was furthering the story or representing the character well, and that is for Casey's sister, Lauren. And I do agree with him, because the way that I pictured Lauren and envisioned her is not the way that the actress is portraying her. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just what I've costumed her to look like is not what you associate with how she acts. He gave a lot of the cast and the crew a lot of feedback. But also he just said a lot of really positive things and pointed out the things that we were doing really well. And it was a good experience. And it was nice to have an outside perspective on that, rather than people who have seen the show before or have been through this process with us. So it was nice to get that. And tomorrow we have our 2-show day and then strike. So it's going to be a very, very long day. Our call time is at 10 in the morning, and we'll be there very, very late.
And most likely your future love.
Look, you guys took care of a very specific need.
So today is our 2-show day, and we just had our show this morning at 10 o'clock. No, we were called at 10 o'clock. The show was at noon. And it went really, really well. They did great. The audience loved it. We had a few friends come. We do have the entire cast of Godspell coming tonight, and that is the main stage production that is going on right now through Iowa State. So they're coming tonight, and they're going to watch the show, and I'm really excited about that. But in the meantime, I'm going to take a nap. All right, it's the last show. We made it. It's the last one. Are you guys ready? Are you going to be sad?
Yeah. I mean, really bittersweet. Yes. But like also really happy. Yeah.
Glad I'm gonna be a badass one more time.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, break a leg, gals.
Poor energy out there.
Rip the check 1.0. Check 1.0.
Hey, friends, can I say something?
Yes. Of course.
I love you all so much. Thank you for wearing my clothes.
Thank you.
This is the last time this is ever going to happen. This is the last time this group of people is ever going to perform this show again. I want you all to go crazy and have so much fun because you guys deserve it. Okay? I love you all. Thank you.
We love you too.
Aaron!
Whoa. Who are you?
Alrighty, so we are packing away the costumes and we already started and I forgot to vlog it. But here we are. So we have it separated in 3 bins. One is washables. These need to be washed. One is accessories and things that need to be put away. And the other is things that cannot be washed / don't need washed. And we're packing it up. We're going to take it back to Fisher and do all of that. And then we'll be done with strike for costumes. It is 10:45 and I'm back home and exhausted. What I'm just feeling right now is just thankful. Like this whole process and experience, like I've learned so much. And I know I still do have a lot to learn, but I'm excited to see what I learn later on, you know? But for now, I'm just thankful because this was a great experience. And, you know, the fact that I got to do it all with friends too, that's awesome. First day is officially packed up and headed to storage. Bye. So we're here at Story Theater Company. Is that right? So I just got to storage and I need to restart.
And there's, oh, Erin. And there's just one more thing you should know about Blaze. Really?
Keep going.
It's in the process. So my cat is making noise. Stop. I'm gonna lock her up. So and